powerful, or should I say, she's a very powerful sister, and she has a very powerful message. And that message I can support. Okay, that message I can agree with. It's both powerful, historical, factual, truthful, and heartfelt. Right? These are the American people speaking their truth to power, speaking to their fellow Americans. And and Morris Science said when her sister is in adversity, when her sister is in trouble, forsake her not. And so the sister is saying, hey, wake up, brothers and sisters out there, my fellow Americans, to all patriots. We must forgot what the birth certificate says. We must have forgot what the mission statement says of the United States of America. We must have forgot the history. We seem to have forgot. And so in that lost in that in that foreclosure of the mind and this new arrangement, look how far we have fallen. And so she did a beautiful, an eloquent job of getting this information out to the American people.
We, the people, is how the Constitution starts. A magistrate is a person that operates under authority. They have power. There are higher magistrates and there are lesser magistrates. The founding fathers of this country understood that there's going to come a point in time where the federal government will need to be checked. If not, they will become tyrants. And that is what's happening now. So, the Declaration of Independence says that everyone, by virtue of being a human being, has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The federal government, too, the federal government, their purpose is.
I don't think y'all heard her. She is dropping. No, seriously, she is giving you. If you have a chance, go back and read the Declaration of Independence. Familiarize yourself with the founding documents, with the original agreements that birthed this country. Go back to the original documents. Go back to the treaty with the Moors, um, um, and the brothers. She just got done talking about the so-called founding fathers. Go back to the treaty agreements. Go back to the Articles of Association, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation. Go back to the Constitution of 1787 for the United States of America. Go back. Go back. Get grounded. Like they say, go put your foot in the grass to be grounded. Go back and get grounded around the subject matter of citizenship, your American citizenship. Go back to the birthrights, go back to the trust, go back to the original documents. Go back to the governing instrument. That's important. The sister was there. She already knows. She wouldn't even be able to present herself like this if in fact she hadn't went back. She went back to study. She said, wait a minute, this ain't. And she started breaking down the magistrate's science, the lesser magistrate and the superior magistrate, which the people is the superior. And this stuff is documented. That's why you got to go back. And this science, this science comes from our ancient practices. This comes from our ancient. So you got to go back to the scribes and the scrolls. Go back to the ancient scrolls. All of a sudden, we done forgot about the Declaration of Independence. We done forgot. We done been disconnected. This is what causes the disenfranchisement when you're not educated on who you are. No, who you are, not who you was, who you are. You are who your ancestors were without doubt or contradiction. You're not a new people. You paved the way.
We, the people, is how the Constitution starts. A magistrate is a person that operates under authority. They have power. There are higher magistrates and there are lesser magistrates. The founding fathers of this country understood that there's going to come a point in time where the federal government will need to be checked. If
issue in this country. This is for educational purposes only. You can always visit us and shop to support what we're doing at www.brotherl.com and by subscribing to WIC TV on YouTube and on Rumble at WIC TV Network. That's WIC, Wealth Intelligence Community. You understand? So I'm gonna let her keep going.
A human being has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The federal government, too, the federal government, their purpose is to protect the rights of those citizens, the rights of us to our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
So that's the terms and conditions she's breaking down. So she's going back into this plea called the Declaration of Independence, which was a plea which explained the issues that the people who published it was suffering from. And it explained the principles from which guides their conviction. So they say, well, they was looking for statehood, nationhood, freedom. And that freedom had to be recognized by other free nations. And so here goes this plea saying, hey, look, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created free and endowed with certain rights by their creator. So, like this has already been an international venue. It's already been like what the United Nations was attempting to be. There was a United States of America governed under these laws, rules, and principles govern themselves. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created free and endowed with certain rights. So what is she's doing? She's reminding the American people of the way, the only way, right? This is documented. This is recorded. This is the facts. This is historical. This is the truth. When did we get disconnected from who we are as we the people that founded this nation? And the brothers knew the Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin's, the John Adams, all of them brothers who served as ministers, plenipotentiary ministers. Forgive me if I murdered that term, under the emperor, but they knew because they had just come from this. They had just came out of getting beat up from Great Britain and all of that information is in there. They was fighting against King George III. They understood that he had his magistrates. They didn't like the conditions. It was you got to go back and look at the history of what was going on. Go back and read the Declaration of Independence. It was tight. The same plight, the same experience that Americans, the majority of Americans are fighting against is exactly what they were going through during that time period.
The third point of that document is if they fail to protect its citizens and enforce those rights, the citizens have a right to revolt. You understand? We have a right to resist. And we have an obligation and a duty to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. And this is for educational purposes only. But that's a fact. This is voters' education. This is American education. Now they got you focused on everything else. You need to go back to the founding, go back to the scrolls. Go back to the American scrolls. Go back to the scrolls of the USA. Go back to its original documents, its original birth documentation. Go look at what was pledged, what was said, what was sealed, what was put in writing, what was negotiated. Freedom under these terms and conditions. The people. This is why it's a constitutional republic, and they trying and attempted to replace it with a so-called U.S. democracy. This is an attack on democracy. Well, according to Article 4, Section 4, I don't even know why you even saying democracy. Democracy is right now. When we go out and we decide who we're going to elect for our local leadership to be in a representative capacity, in the county leadership, within the state leadership, in a representative capacities, the state government, the governor's office, and all of the cabinet heads, secretary of states, the judicial branch within the states, and then moving up to Congress, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, where the people rights is secured they have an equity claim against the U.S. and it's their rights is secure from the federal down to the local, down to the local, right? All politics is local, as we learned, as the brother stated in the last segment. However, where can I find that in writing? You got to go back to the contracts. Bottom line, you got to go back to the Articles of Association, the Articles of Confederation, the um, the Declaration of Independence in 1774. You got to go back to the treaty agreement with the Moors and the Muslim communities or the Asiatic nations, Tripoli, Algiers, Tunis, um, the Empire of Morocco, the Moroccan Empire. You got to go back in there in 1787. You got to go to the other treaties too. There's more treaty agreements. And then you got to look at the American Constitution, which is the binding, which is the connector, and it brought all those documents into one. So it's the American Constitution and its attachments, and so if you got to go to the contract, got to put your eyes on it, got to put your eyes on the prize again. And she obviously she knows it. And that's one thing that removes fear is knowledge, truth, like the facts. That now you ain't got to be fearful because now you know.
There's a duty to that between the tyrannical government and its laws. They are coming for our children. We cannot sit down.
No.
Every great leader knows, every one of them, even the bad ones know, that if you want to affect the country, you go for its children.
Yep. And that's who's been under attack. And again, this is for educational purposes, but you know what's happening in your communities. The last segment, the brother spoke passionately about our children, right? It was out of Chicago. He was talking about 150 young American males is being murdered on the streets of Chicago from the ages of, I think it was like 15 to 24. He talked about the 60% unemployment rate for 18 to 24. And we have seen many material about compromised curriculums being infused into the public educational system. We talked about the origins of the educational system. I think back in 1909, the General Board of Education, the history of it and why it was designed, right? And we're talking about the era of innovation right now, right? We're in the era of innovation. We're in an era of technology. We're in an era where everything has been reimagined, as you can say. Um, and 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 so with that, she hits a valid point on when they come after your children. That's the first signs and the sign that they're coming after the nation. If you want to come after a nation, you come after its children. And so that's why you see so many people upset about the abortions and the outrage, the nonsense with it, the Planned Parenthood and their profit margin. How many of our children, American children, has been lost to this unmoral, illegal, unconstitutional system, demon system, depending on who you're talking to. But again, look at its origins, look at its founder, look at the intent, right? Look at it. You got to go into the facts on this stuff. Um, and so that's why you see so many people upset about attacking parental authority, undermining parental authority, which is a constitutional issue again. Um, so you got so many, the over sexualization. Big tech is being sued currently for providing addictive features intentionally to consume the minds of our youth. They're under attack. Again, as she stated, when somebody comes after your nation, they come after your children. They come after your children. They come after your nation. And we all, if you don't know, you might not be a parent or you might not be one that raises your children. You just might not be conscious to this reality. And that's the reason why you joined the Brother Ill show today. And I sure appreciate it. Make sure you come visit us at brotherill.com.
When in the world do we start using children as bulletproof vests for us?
Yeah.
When in the world do we start testing things on children?
Legal shield.
There's first. And when you come for our children, you have started a war. And they have declared.
Now, again, this is for educational purposes, but that's exactly what comes to my mind. So you're attacking my children? Well, either I'm a coward, or I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight back. And I love the fact that she's calling us out here. I love the fact that this sister is calling us out. Wait a minute, they're coming for your children. They're looking to reorganize the minds of your children to play into their bidding, this agenda, this sick, twisted agenda. Where now I'm going to confuse my child on this fake gender. I don't even know what they got going on with all that stuff. But I know that it's invasive. It's attacking. It's suffocating because it's everywhere. It's being forced upon the young minds of our babies, right? And it's unnatural. And anything that's unnatural to me is a disaster. I mean, I mean, it's not the intent to offend anybody. Again, this is for educational purposes. But I'm in support of natural laws. I'm in support of Mother Nature. I'm in support. I'm a son of Mother Nature. I have to be in support. That's the law, right? And I give great gratitude to Mother Nature and the natural laws of man, of humanity, right? The natural laws of life. What does it take to produce more life, right? And there's a natural pathway to producing life, right? There's a natural pathway to happiness. And so I'm just in support of all things nature. Mother
And we
nature.
are answering to that war. We are magistrates. And we are magistrates. And I need you, each one, reach one, and teach one. Do you understand? As a magistrate in this country, the United States government, our local leaders have to answer to us. The Ninth Amendment says that any rights that are not enumerated in the Constitution are reserved for the people.
The people.
Man, she is well studied. And she is well studied. And for that, we give her honors. She understands, she overstands, understands, she apprehends her rights protected under the Constitution. She understands, she has the language, she has the proper language. She understands, excuse me, she understands that she's a magistrate, that we are the magistrates of America. We like to say the majesties of America. But she understands that the power, the authority is with us, we the people. They have to answer to us. They mandated reporter. They can't be talking about we don't have to. I seen that City Hall in the city of Pontiac where these people in these outfits, they have reserved the right to think that they actually that the people actually serve them, that the people must respond to them, the people must answer to them. It's an amazing experience. It's like, wow, now that is just brilliant. How did you? What script are you reading from? So as soon as you start talking about the Constitution and the history, what she's doing, and the law, what she's doing, they real unfamiliarized with that material. They become like students all of a sudden. Like, wow, I didn't know that. Well, how did you even get in that position? Because you took an oath and you signed that oath. You took an undertaking which puts you under a contract. So now, therefore, you're liable at this point. You're liable. You a liability at this point. You're on the negative side of things if you don't know this and you agree to terms and conditions of a contract because the contract is invalid if you didn't know this. It has no enforceability because you didn't know this. And it's clearly, in order for a contract to be valid, you have to understand the terms and conditions of the contract, which you are agreeing to. So, how did you agree to be subjected to the Constitution? And then you get in there and you produce resolution or legislations or vote against the Constitution and you encroach on the people's rights. And all of a sudden, the people serve you and you don't serve the people. What? And this is for the judicial branch exclusively. This is very interesting how this works. These people actually owe you. These people are actually obligated to you, actually owe a debt to the American people. And a lot of times you try to get fancy and say, "Oh, we're partners." Whoa, whoa, whoa! We're not partners. We're not none of that. You signed up to be a public servant. You serve at the will and pleasure of the American people. We pay for everything that got something to do with your title. the seat, the car, the office, the pens, the pencils, the papers, the network, the people that you think you like and you think you don't like, the airtime, the microphone time, the video time, all of your time is public time outside of the time that you're not in that capacity. We own it. Why did you sign up and agree to be public property and then act like you don't know you public property? That's the reality of what's going on. The cops with the badges, they captains and sergeants. Listen, they're public property. We own the badge, the gun, the belt, the shoes, the boots, the car, the keys, the computer, all of the technology, the gas is going in the car, actually the road that the car riding on. That belongs to the American people. So I'm just a little bit confused on who did the trading places with us. How do we switch positions? This is some type of joke or something. This is really a terrible joke because why should we even have to explain this to a cop, a judge, an elected official when they signed the contract, took and don't signed it, agreed to the terms and conditions, which says that they understand what they just agreed to. So it's somebody enlighten me on this. Why do I have to give a history lesson to people that are public servants? That's amazing to me. It really truly is how you don't know the law that you agreed to. Somebody should be fired because you cannot become a citizen of this country unless you pass the test. You got to take a civics test. So how are these grown people in application becoming senators and elected officials or serving in the capacity of public trust, and they don't know the constitutional law, which is a contract that they agreed to uphold and defend with their life? With their life. And the Constitution declares the authority of we the people of the United States of America as the kings, the authors, the authority, the magistrates, the law itself. The law need us. We don't need the law. Our rights existed before the law. So you gotta understand what's going on. So birthrights.
I want to hear that mandates are not enumerated in the Constitution because the stuff that is not enumerated means that authority and those rights go to us.
Yeah.
Every one of these mandates are illegal. Every single one of them.
And she was talking about the mandates. She even said the mandates are illegal. It's unconstitutional. You have no authority. No elected official has any kind of amount of authority delegated to them by the Constitution to override the people rights, to overthrow the people rights, to do any of that, to overthrow the laws and constitution of this said government. That's illegal. We got to understand that. The faster that the people can apprehend that, the faster we can turn this thing around. No elected official can take an act, a vote. You know, they say we got to vote. We had to vote. We ain't had a majority vote. See, that's the games they play. The vote has already been taken, man. When the Constitution was adopted, into the common laws of the United States of America, that was the vote. When it was adopted, when the Constitution was ratified in 1789, that was the vote. It was in fact, not implied, it was in fact, the United States of North America was a constitutional republic. That was the vote. So any act, vote, legislation, bill, anything that goes against anything in the Constitution is not withstanding under Article 6. It's not withstanding. It is unenforceable. And that's by any elected. Go to Article 6. They said all judges in the several states, the representatives, the senators, the executives, everybody. That's why you got up in school and said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, even though they was missing a flag. You understand me? But you get the point. You pledge your allegiance. That's a contract. That's a contract. You committing yourself to what you just said. And what you say can and will be what? Used against you. I mean, you're going to be held accountable in a court of law. Allegedly, supposedly. But again, if you don't know the history, if you don't know your history of the soil you walking on and connectivity to your ancestors and their great contributions to the upliftment of fallen humanity, i.e., the United States was uplifted via the acts and the actions of our ancient ancestors. The laws raised it to the level of sovereignty.
Under that 14th Amendment, due process and rights to equal protection is the right to protect my body. Yeah. When you want to push something into my body against my consent, without my consent, it is rape. Right. And this is medical rape.
I didn't think people really understood that either. That is, anytime that I'm being forced, so when you say a mandate, which came out under the Biden Harris regime, where they was trying to mandate these vaccines into people, that's medical rape. That was rape. That's called forced intercourse. And anytime you try to force somebody to do something, that's illegal. Forced servitude has been abolished. Involuntary servitude has been abolished. You can't force anybody to do anything because within the United States of America, you have a right to contract under Article 1, Section 10. It ain't that it's not giving a right, it's protecting a birthright. That's what it's doing. It's protecting your birthrights. So you have a right to consent, you have a right not to consent. Again, go back to the Declaration of Independence. Why would a people go through what they've been through to turn around and inflict it upon another people? And if they do so, then by virtue of that unconstitutional act, remove them from constitutional protections. And so these things can go. It can happen to you now. So when we look at what she's talking about, they're trying to force me into vaccine. This is not. I'm not your slave. And you're a government agency. You are subject to the Constitution. You are a lesser form. You don't even see eye to eye to the American people. We own you. We own the needles. We own your paycheck. We own the research. We own the paperwork. We own the words on the paper. We own the gas in your car, the tires you went and got changed. We own everything about you when you go into these capacities. So how dare you come at me like I got to do what you said? How? What happened? What form of government is this? What form? Wait a minute. You gonna tell me I gotta wear a mask because of what exactly? You doing business on America. So see, these people better than me. They better than me, man. Trump better than me, all of them, because there's no way, bro. You would be shut down operating on American soil. Anybody that violates the American Constitution should be shut down. That's against the law. And I've been going through this for too long where you got these institutions set up and they just said, forget your constitutional protected rights. Forget your constitutional secure rights. Forget your birth rights. Really? Well, who issued you your charter? How did you get a license to do business on the land? We need to go after your charter. Forfeit your charter through a Q warranto. You know, there's legal remedies, there's constitutional relief. But if you got compromise in the judiciary branch, then meaning they're not upholding their oath of office, their oath and scope of office to defend and uphold the constitutional law, the state constitution, the federal constitution, etc., then you don't have relief. You don't have relief, and now we back around again where the American people can actually get the relief that they're seeking this election. Again, thanks for joining us. Great session, great time talking to you guys this morning. I hope you had your smoothies or your coffees, whatever gets you going on in the morning. But thanks for joining us on the Brother Ill Show. Continue to visit and shop at www.brotherill.com. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Peace.